The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everyone. We're seeing some attendees still coming in, so I want to thank everybody for joining us this morning. We have a lot of information to cover in a short amount of time, so I want to make sure that if you do have questions, you use the question function in GoToWebinar. That way we at least have a record of it, and if we can't address it during this session, we will create an FAQ section on our webpage where we can address them later. So I've invited Crystal here. Say hello, Crystal.
Hello, everybody.
She's in a unique position to give us her take on the social media side that we're going to address towards the end of it here. But unless you've been living under a rock, obviously the coronavirus is first and foremost on everyone's mind, retail especially. So we want to address that with our 6-part webinar series that dives into a lot of different things that retailers can do right now to help safeguard their business and pivot, because we don't really know yet how this is going to affect us. So we want to make sure that you guys are armed with as many strategies as possible to help you safeguard your business. Management One has been around for over 3 decades, and our core purpose is to provide financial security to retailers. We do this by making merchandise intelligence available to retailers, but the company was started by retailers, and we're retailers first. We have access to thousands of retailers across the globe, and it puts us in a unique position to hear their pain points and develop strategies like you're going to hear today. So our intent and the things that we're going to go over today, first and foremost, to be prepared, not panicked. Watching the news, reading articles online, it's very easy to jump into panic mode. That is not our intent with this. We want to give you guys strategies that are going to help you build your business. Things like messaging your customers. We're going to go over evaluating your sales and markdowns, diversifying your products and services. And later, Crystal's going to go into leveraging social media and your digital properties, mainly your website. So like I said, be prepared, not panicked. Panic doesn't help anyone. We can't predict the depth of the impact on all retailers, but you can certainly be prepared. We want to generate ideas here, and that's why we definitely want to get your feedback after this presentation. Collaboration is key. So we're going to present some things that may work for brick and mortar, may work for e-com, or it might work for both. You can take all of these with a grain of salt because every retailer is different. Some of them may apply specifically to your business, others may not. Others might generate an idea that we haven't even thought of yet. The important thing is don't dismiss the common sense ideas. Anything that's been on your I'll get to it later list, probably a good time to dig that out and start kicking around new ideas and thinking outside the box. You've probably read about what the possible effects of COVID-19 are on the retail industry, so I'm not going to go too in-depth with that, but we all know that there is going to be a supply chain disruption, if there hasn't already, to your stores. The flow of products could be delayed, maybe even canceled. Some vendors are taking the opportunity to increase the price because they recognize the increased demand. We realized some of the factories in China are starting to get back up and running. So a lot of people might think that they're in the clear, but I took this from the Outdoor Industry Association. It's a chart that represents the textile supply chain and all of the different steps that go into creating finished goods. So if you throw in factory closure, even in one of these spots, never mind 2 or 3 or more, it can cause delays that will ripple across for weeks. So we want to make sure that you definitely understand the supply chain is going to be disrupted. We just don't know for how long, how far, and how wide. Reduced foot traffic is something that some of our clients are already experiencing. It's almost daily I'm hearing of events being canceled and mall traffic down, and people are starting to get the sense that they don't want to go outside. So we understand that there could be reduced foot traffic in your store. We just don't know the extent. There was a great report by Retail Dive just yesterday. They referenced a study by Morgan Stanley that showed total retail traffic has already declined by 9.1%. The apparel industry was hit by 3.9%, and a lot of articles are indicating that luxury is going to be hardest hit, and their study pretty much corroborated that with a 14.7% decline. Lowered consumer confidence is another big one. Even if people are willing to go out, if you're looking at the stock market in the last 2 weeks and all of the red arrows, people are not going to want to spend dollars like they would before. Anyone working in the service industry, the travel industry, luxury retail, they're just going to feel their wallets close like a steel trap. And you want to recognize the fact that people aren't going to be quite as liberal with their spending. There could be in-store team disruption in your own store. You, your family, your employees, they could be directly affected. Whether it's by illness, lots of school closures, now you have to worry about what you're going to do with your children in daycare. There could be quarantines. What if one of your employees just traveled abroad? All of these things you're going to have to weigh in. And we have a great webinar series later on that discusses internal processes. So I'm not going to go too in-depth on that one today. Finally, it's good for you to just stay informed. You don't want to get your news from Facebook memes and Instagram memes. Just go right to the source. Monitor the CDC site, the World Health Organization. I have links to both of those that we're going to give you guys after this. We created a live blog that we try to update as often as possible as we get news. If anybody is familiar with Bob and Susan Nagin at Whizbang Retail, they put together a fantastic report that covers multiple areas of how this could affect your retail business. So we included a link to that as well. I highly recommend you download that and just keep it on hand as a guide of things to do. So let's get to the strategy. That's why we're all here, right? The first one we're going to talk about is messaging your customers because they're likely in panic mode as well. First thing you want to do is alleviate their concerns. Let them know that you're open for business. Let them know that you're operating a clean store. Let them know how you're protecting your staff. Clue them into possible shipping disruptions. Provide them with suggestions on staying healthy. I've seen a few emails go around that just goes over the basics of hand washing, face touching, and include the links from the World Health Organization and CDC that we just had before. It just lets them know that you're on it. You recognize there's an issue. You're not panicking. They shouldn't panic either. If you can get them in that mindset, they're going to be much more willing to come in and visit and buy. I just shared a couple of emails that some of the staff here at Management One and some of our clients shared with us. So big brands are already doing this, whether it's from the Nordstrom CEO, the Target CEO, Citibank. I just received one last night from Starbucks. So they're already jumping on top of this and just making sure that they get information to their client base, not to panic them, just to let them know what's what and let them know that they're here for them. I think that's the biggest thing. Just let them know that they're here to address any needs. Now, let's say you actually do get the traffic. You want to make sure if they come to your store, you want to nurture that traffic. There are a lot of reports about how the retail environment affects the buyer's mood, from the music you play, and some people think that there's a scent involved, the colors of your store. But the main thing that they want to address right now is cleanliness. Make sure that you have clean restrooms and fitting areas. Organize tightly folded merchandise. Make sure your sales staff definitely has a clean and professional appearance. And it doesn't hurt to have some hand sanitizer if you can find it at the cash wrap and entrance. I was at Trader Joe's last night getting some groceries. Every single register had a huge vat of hand sanitizer for everyone to use. The next one is just keeping the lines of communication open. It's about doubling down on your customer support. You want to make sure that each and every avenue for direct contact with your audience has been assigned to one of your team members, even if that includes the owner. You don't want to keep any sales waiting on hold. If foot traffic is going to be down, then you have to make sure you capture as much as possible. So if you can provide quick or even instant access via phone, email, text, if you have a website chat module, Facebook Messenger, any of the social media messaging, just make sure that somebody on your team is assigned to those and that you have a process in place to message your customers.
And Nico, I'll jump in there for a second
Please.
too. For your Facebook Messenger in your page settings, you can change what your default message is when people message you on Facebook Messenger. And so I think it's smart to just customize that email or that message and let people know too, like, is the fastest way for them to contact you via phone number, give them your phone number, FAQs to your site, just kind of going a little bit further with that auto message to help in case you are kind of caught up and you can't answer as fast as possible. And then the other thing is with your Instagram direct messages, same with Messenger, thinking of creative ways to just kind of take it a step further and using video. You can do a video back to somebody who is asking some questions about product, or you can kind of do a little tour in the store or just answer their questions quick. But just kind of showing you and having excellent customer service through those DMs is a great way to stand out.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a good point. And automated chatbot response too could be in Messenger as well. The other thing is ask your customers. Take it to them first. Ask them for their input. Reach out with a poll on social media or email and just gauge what their concerns are. Are they even panicked at all? See what they need from you in the near future. Are there products or services that you can provide them that would help them through this? Sometimes they can have ideas for your business that you didn't even think of. You definitely want to evaluate all of your post-sale messaging. Ask for their feedback. Post-sale contact is a lot easier with e-com, with a lot of the drip campaigns and things like that, but it's definitely achievable with brick and mortar. I mean, if somebody buys something at your store, just ask them, oh, do you want your receipt emailed to you? It's an easy way to grab their email address, input them into the system, and get going from there. But messaging them and putting the questions in their court is also a good way of just strengthening that relationship and showing them that you care about their point of view. The other thing with messaging, you really have to be cautious with comedy. I know it's a scary time right now, and it can be really easy to lighten the mood with some comedy, and there are a lot of funny memes out there floating around. And we're not advocating that you don't do that, but just know your audience. If your audience would resonate with something like the coronavirus vaccine is sold here, or 0 cases of corona vaccine, or 0 cases of coronavirus in our store today, things of that nature, if they would think that's funny, go for it. I think the store window here on the right, come in and wash your hands for free, that's actually a clever way of blending a little bit of comedy without being offensive. But some people are going to be directly affected by this virus, and they might not find some of the humor very funny. It's unfortunate, but we are living in a cancel culture world, and you just have to be mindful that if traffic is going to be reduced, you don't want to do anything to push people away. So let's talk about our sales and markdowns. The next session in this webinar series is devoted entirely to merchandise intelligence. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time here discussing the math, but there are some key strategies that we think are going to be important for marketing. The first one is margin. At this time, if you're experiencing or about to experience supply chain disruption, margin is essential. So now is not really the time to have a big blowout clearance sale. At Management One, we always advocate inventory turn, getting that product in, getting it out fast as you can. Well, these are different times. If new product isn't going to be coming in as quickly, then you might not want to push it out as quickly as you can. You want to make sure you get as much cash as you can possibly get for the items that are on hand. The other thing is bundling them together. Sell clients, if you're in the fashion industry, for example, sell them outfits, not items. It's an easy way to include some of your slow moving items into a bundle that might not have moved on their own. Things that you would have had to have sold for a clearance price, now you can sneak in there and Trojan horse them in with a little more margin. A big one for Management One, embrace open to buy planning. It's going to be a topic of discussion in our next session on Tuesday. Open to buy planning, if you're not familiar with it, it just helps retailers stock the right amount of the right products at the right time by showing the difference between how much inventory is needed and how much is available. Anybody can look at their sales and see what's fast moving and what's not, but it could require looking at a lot of Excel spreadsheets and looking at how the inventory is coming in. It becomes very cumbersome if you don't have open to buy software and merchandise planning at your disposal. So it's definitely something to consider. And I would also consider registering for the Tuesday webinar if it's something that you're more interested in, because they're going to be talking about the key nuts and bolts to that process on Tuesday. Also, if you're having product disruptions in your supply chain, leverage that scarcity. Be transparent with your customer. Let them know, look, I only have 4 of these left. Scarcity isn't always a bad thing. If people know that it's something that's a hot seller in your store, if they know it's not going to be around anytime soon or maybe ever again, that could be a way for you to get a little more price in there. Could even be able to mark it up. We have a couple of our clients that are seeing good markups on their hot moving items because they don't know if they're going to get them in again. And you can also invent scarcity. Yeah, please.
Oh, I was just going to add with the FOMO type stuff, the fear of missing out, and if you only have a couple left, one of the best places to put that type of content from a social perspective is in your stories. So Instagram stories, Facebook stories, because the content expires after 24 hours. So, if you do sell those fast, then that kind of goes away and it's gone. But definitely leverage stories for that type of content.
That's a really good point. Yeah, and it gets them curious about what's the next thing that's going to go out. So it diverts their eyes towards your brand instead of somebody else's. That's a really good point.
Yes.
You can invent your own scarcity too through purposely sourced rare items. We have a couple of our sales affiliates that were telling us clients of theirs were sourcing locally, looking at local artisans. Some are very crafty and they were making their own items. These are things you can't get anywhere else. So they're almost inventing the market for their own products, which was an interesting strategy. And if it's something that's available to you in your community, I would definitely look into locally sourced products or even switching up your vendors. So diversifying our products and services is probably going to be the quickest thing that you can do, and it's going to be the most impactful for your business. I just mentioned, it was probably a good segue actually, the locally sourced products. People love seeing that made in the USA label, especially in recent years, and you can promote that scarcity. So if you can find locally sourced items, I would definitely recommend looking into that avenue. The other thing is adding new merchandise that may not even relate to your store. Cater to their concerns. If you go into any store right now, I can almost guarantee hand sanitizer is either gone or almost gone. Toilet paper as well, but if you can find wholesale bottles of these things, there are Facebook groups that I've seen around devoted just to wholesale hand sanitizers, wholesale face masks. Vendors do have these things wholesale. So if you can get your hands on some of them and you can rebrand them and sell them in your stores, it could be a way of just infusing a little bit of cash where you didn't have it before. You could even give them away. If the margin allows in your store, give it away as a post-sale gift. I think people would appreciate that. And it's a way of, again, lightening the mood a little bit and showing them that you recognize the concern. A friend of mine actually said he researched homemade hand sanitizer, and I got an email last night from BuzzFeed that was telling people how to make homemade hand sanitizer. we're not here advocating that you make hand sanitizer and sell it as your own. I think that would violate a whole host of FDA rules, but it's something to email out to your customer base, and it's something that could be put out on social. I think that would be, again, being cautious with comedy, I think that would be a funny thing to put out that would be informative to people. I touched on it briefly with face masks. They're everywhere. Even though they've been pretty widely debunked as a useful preventative tool, I don't think they're going away anytime soon. And it certainly hasn't stopped people from buying them in bulk. 3 days ago, I saw a Facebook group that was solely devoted to wholesale face masks, and they have lookbooks and patterns and all kinds of styles available for folks. And it's something that you could put in your stores, whether it's for sale or something that you give away, just as a way of staying relevant. Even put them on your mannequins, just when people walk in. It could be an interesting way, just, again, being cautious with the comedy, keeping it top of mind, but not panicking them. One diversified service that was proposed by a client of ours was curbside delivery. If people are going to be afraid to go out and interact in public, then bring the product out to them. Target in 2019 rolled out, or they expanded their order pickup in store and delivery, and they crushed their revenue sales. I've used it myself. It's seamless. I'm not advocating that you get an app and make it quite as seamless as they can, but there are certainly ways through social media and through email that you can apply curbside delivery. Crystal, what do you think would be the best social media strategy for curbside delivery?
Well, I mean, having some posts about it, we're going to talk a little bit about doing some live buying events. And then if you are doing those, of course, the messaging around that is you don't even have to come in. We could either deliver, or you don't even have to get out of your car. We're going to run right out and just give you your items. So it's really just the messaging around convenience. And I think video is one of the best ways to communicate that on social.
Absolutely. Maybe a testimonial too of somebody that once you get it up and running and get some feedback from your customers about how easy it was, that could be a good testimonial video on social as well.
Yeah, and if your customer's okay with you taking a picture with them as you're like handing over the item, just to show like, hey, you know, we're still open, we're doing what we got to do, and we're making the best out of it.
Absolutely. Another interesting one that was proposed by one of our sales affiliates was the idea of concierge retail. You look at companies online like Stitch Fix and people that bring the product literally to the customer's house. This is not going to apply to a vast majority of retailers, but in the luxury space, this could certainly be a way to counteract the foot traffic that they're not seeing. You could set up VIP member subscriptions or personalized offerings that increase the customer lifetime value. That personal touch would really strengthen the relationship for sure. And that's another thing you could leverage via social media. Again, it's going to be at your disposal to see if you can have the bandwidth for that. But if you have a small community, I think it would be pretty easy to go around and deliver specific products. You can market bundles and outfits, like I mentioned before, and have people choose which one works for them. Also, it's great to offer choices. Bring as many product selections as you possibly can. They might not know what they want, but if they see something new in your collection, that might be a way of opening up their trust in you as a stylist and as a buyer. Along that same line, we had somebody propose the idea of after-hours shopping or appointment-based store access. If there's folks that don't want to be in public and they don't want to interact with other people, maybe they'd be willing to come in after the store is closed or before it opens and have that free reign on your store, one-on-one or maybe two-on-one time, where they don't have to worry about other public interaction. Again, it would be a VIP member subscription type thing. You can see what works for your store, if it's a paid subscription or not, but Things like that will, again, strengthen the relationship and really increase that customer lifetime value.
And Nico, I'll add to that too, of even just leveraging like FaceTime or, just hopping on the phone together and doing some stuff. Yeah. And, I just kind of feel like these options of after hours shopping or bringing items to the consumer is all about it's experience, right? Which we've been talking a lot about experience marketing.
Absolutely.
And this is not necessarily experience in store because of what's happening, but we're almost kind of being forced to creatively think of new experiences and try them out. And, it could be something that sticks with the store long term, but I think is a really great solution to try out in the temporary.
Yeah, it all comes down to being different. All retailers are going to be in the same boat with foot traffic and reduced buyer confidence. So how are you going to stand out from the competition? And offering these concierge type services could be one of those ways. I slipped this one in literally this morning. It was given to me by one of our sales affiliates. A client of theirs shared an idea about repurposing their patio space in a pretty creative way. They're marketing their space to clients working from home to just come into the store and work at the store. They're providing lunch, drinks, snacks, and a clean environment for them to get their work done and not feel like they're in cabin fever stuck in their house. Even having, if you're not going to invite them in, just have some coffee available for them or things to make it more of a welcoming experience. But I thought that was a creative way of using available space. Again, it really depends on your available square footage. They're lucky to have that space. Not everybody will, but if you do, it could be interesting to see how a strategy like that plays out. The 6th session in our webinar series is going to be kind of a town hall style where we get a lot of retailers together, a lot of retail experts in the next 5 weeks, and we're just going to see which of these strategies have been applied, what works, what doesn't. So I'm really looking forward to the April 21st session to see what people have to say about some of these strategies. If you haven't registered for that one yet, I would definitely recommend doing so. Next, you want to embrace your local community. Like I said, all of these retailers in your community, they're in the same boat, and they may have ideas that you didn't think of. Not everyone is in direct competition, so collaborate with your other retailers. Look into setting up community events. I'm really hoping we don't get into full-scale quarantines, but if we still have community events available for folks, I think it would be a great way to reach out, let them know you're there, hit your local consumer base. This is going to be a big brick and mortar play, obviously, but it doesn't have to be. Reach out to your local press, any news publications, any Facebook groups in your local community. Get ads out there in those publications as well. We'll speak to it later when we get into social media, but geo-targeted ads are going to be a huge play there too. Excellent segue. Leveraging social media and digital properties. I will turn it over to you, Crystal.
Awesome. Okay, so during this time, it's could be good timing for you to really look at your digital footprint and make sure that your store exists in as many places as possible online with the accurate information, current information about your store offering. What we find at Crystal Media is there is so much inaccurate information. In fact, 97% of consumers search online to find a local business, but on average, these businesses have over 40% listing inaccuracies. So what I mean by that is you guys all know Google has information about your business. You've got your Google My Business page. Yahoo, Bing, MapQuest, Dex, those are some of the bigger ones but there are many other listing sites, data aggregators, search engines that has your business information on it. And so it's critical that it's first of all up to date. And for example, if you do have to experience any store closings or you're modifying your hours, you're going to want that information out on all of these sites. You'll also want to make sure that you just have all the right products that are listed. If it's been a while since you've taken a look, now's a good time to do a digital health scan. We've got a tool, it's on the screen there, crystalmediaco.com/scan. And you could just see, where you're having any inaccuracies and click through to each of those to fix those.
Awesome.
And then, so outside of your local listings, and that's really going to be a big one for the locals, all of us, we just want to make sure that we've got the correct information everywhere else and on our social media, utilizing all available aspects of your social accounts to target your specific niche. So the screenshot here is showing on your business page for Facebook. If you go to edit page, just making sure that you've got the right template. This is something that Facebook rolled out later after people started their pages, and so you can have a retail template in there. Adding all of your events, and obviously some of those may get canceled, but if we've got some things on the books, getting all that out on social media, creating your Facebook event pages. If you do any community type events, like Nico was saying, making sure we're creating event pages for that. Some of your local listings, you can add your events to those too. So we want to make sure that they're just listed everywhere. Leveraging Facebook stories, being consistent there. And what I recommend is to post a story a day, at least one story a day, because they disappear after 24 hours. We want to stay top of mind in front of our customers. We never know when they need something. And so posting every day is a smart strategy. But the great thing about stories is they can be more humanized, behind the scenes, in the moment, real, raw. So it's easier to just open up the app, take a picture, video in store, talk about products, or even just what's happening. Tell stories, connect with your audience through those channels. Facebook Live is another great way, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Making sure you've got an email sign up, on your Facebook page, your website. Give them a good reason to join your email, maybe a money off, percentage off, free gift. Just make it enticing. This is such a great time to focus on building your email address and building your following so we have more people to talk to online.
Absolutely. Going back to that too, widening your digital footprint isn't just for human eyes. You want to make sure that the search engines are seeing as much content from your brand as possible, just to help provide a space for you in those search engines.
Absolutely. And I'll add to that too, Google, we always think it's just about Google, but it's not. We never know how the consumer is searching. So first, we always just want to show up. It does not hurt our business. It only helps it.
Exactly.
And second, and Google relies on these other sites for information. They actually pull information from other smaller data aggregators. And if they are looking at 10 different sites and there is different information on every single one of those sites about your business, it doesn't seem trusted. It doesn't seem credible. And so it's hard for them to scrape the right information. And so that's where you can be lower in those search results. So we just want to make sure everything is listed and is consistent. And then, and so going into expanding your social audience, like I was saying, just a great time to build your list, get more people who are connected with you online. From an advertising perspective, Facebook and Instagram ads are some of the most cost-effective forms of increasing awareness, engagement, foot traffic, and sales. We have an ads agency, and so we see this for our clients. And in fact, one of our members shared with me, he did a year over year, 2018 versus 2019. He had a 31% increase in sales from $1 a day ad campaign, which is so cool. So you don't have to have a big box budget. I know that we're also conscious on how am I investing and what does this look like for me? And we might not be spending a lot on ads, but even just $1 a day to the right audience can help you show up and still promote your store and products. So we could focus locally, of course, for my brick and mortars, There are what is called lookalike audiences. So you can take an already established audience like your email list or like your current page fans and create a lookalike out of those people. So basically it's an entirely new group of people that are similar to your email list or your Facebook page. So that's a great way to find new customers, or maybe customers who haven't shopped with you in a while. And then leverage website tracking pixels for product awareness. So for those of you who do sell online, we just want to make sure we've got the Facebook pixel on our site. It's tracking our website traffic. That pixel can allow you to remarket to those people on the site, remarket specific products they were looking at. And also going back to that lookalike audience, you can create a lookalike audience out of your website traffic too. So yeah, do you have anything to add to that, Nico?
Well, we know that Facebook, Google, we know that they're getting all of our data, every possible data point that under the sun about us and everyone that uses their platform. So let's use it to our advantage. They're doing a lot of the legwork, so let's use it. Lookalike audiences are awesome.
Absolutely. Another audience that works well for our clients is if you have any consumer known brands that you sell. So like Vera Bradley is a big one in gift and home. We've got Pandora or Alex and Ani is big in jewelry. Yeti is big. If you sell any of those, you often can reach people that have an interest in that brand who live in your town or city. So that's just a really strong campaign to run to those people because it's incredibly targeted. To Nico's point, Facebook just has so much info on us. And when I say Facebook, that's also Instagram because you can run your ads in the same place. They're owned by the same company. So ads, I mean, I'm gonna say ads are gonna be one of your strongest tools to use, not just right now. I mean, even just moving forward after everything, but then we should always be exploring new channels too, to see if that makes sense for us to get in and start leveraging. What I teach is we just want to be where your customers are. So if you are finding that more of your customers are on TikTok, and this is where you can survey them, you can ask on Facebook, Instagram, send an email, ask in store, where they show up. You could do a little research. And if you are, of course, trying to reach kind of that younger audience, that's the primary audience on TikTok, but that millennial group is growing. I will personally say TikTok is my favorite social network right now. So it could be a time for you to just really explore those new options. And then we're connecting with our social audience. So establishing a connection to your brand requires engaging content that tells a story they can relate to. It's really about posting relevant content, not necessarily just posting a bunch of noise. I really just want you to step into the shoes of your customers and have conversations with them, ask them questions. When people engage with your Facebook posts and your Instagram posts, because of the algorithms, they're more likely to see what you post in the future. So it just helps your overall organic reach. And right now, I just think we can really come together online. We are so connected through social that if people aren't coming in the store, we can still connect with them online and have conversations. So we're shifting our focus away from attention economy and mass audience strategy to smaller niche groups with unified interests and content. So find your niche groups or create one. One of the best ways to do this is through Facebook groups. You can join Facebook groups. I'm sure your area has some that are already established. You can just search for your town and city. You can search for different keywords and see what's out there. Or create one for your customers, a way to stay connected, or VIP, your loyalty program. Share posts to other groups. This is kind of the networking piece where we're just getting involved in the conversation online and tagging relevant groups in your posts, photos, and events. Then with our products for e-commerce, if you haven't done this already, now would be a great time for you to upload your full product catalog on a Facebook shopping page. So e-com only. This is where you are allowing that social selling through Facebook and Instagram. You can tag your products when you're posting in stories or on the feed, just making it easier for somebody to buy online when they're, cruising through Facebook or Instagram. 5,000 characters are allowed in the description field. So we're filling this up because we want to be able to be found for different keywords and making sure that we're just being really descriptive for our products. This is one of my favorite strategies. I really hope you guys consider doing this, and I would love to hear successes where you can do a Facebook Live virtual buying event. So this is not a brand new strategy. This has been happening for years, but I think this is such great timing to just go live. We're live streaming. We could do this on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. In fact, there is a tool called onestream.live that allows you to stream to all those platforms at once. And we could do this when the store is closed. It's a virtual buying event. Market it ahead of time, tell people to get comfortable at home, and you're going to showcase all sorts of products. There's a few different ways to host these. You can manually just do this and have people call to place their orders. If you sell online, that's a little bit easier because you're just sending links for them to purchase online. You could also use a tool like Comment Sold that kind of helps this, automates that selling process through your live events. But I just think that this is a way to really create a community, create something that's fun online that people can participate in if they are stuck at home, and then you can still sell product.
Absolutely. I didn't even know about OneStream. I just wrote that down. I'm going to look into that.
Yeah. Yep. OneStream is great. Another one too, crowdcast.io. That one allows you to stream to Facebook and YouTube live at the same time. And they've got like Q&A and polls built in too, so you could have people do polls on products they're liking. The one thing to note about OneStream is it's actually a pre-recorded video that you upload, and it feels live to the person watching, but you can't actually comment to people live in that video. If you wanted that functionality, then Crowdcast is a good idea, or just going right through Facebook and Instagram, the apps themselves. And so, we could be pulling together this complete outfit. Ideally, we are wearing anything that can be worn, whether it's a live event or even just in photos. It's going to sell better if it's being worn. You could take orders through your messenger on Facebook, like I said, on the phone too, linking to product catalogs and online. And then those third-party software, Comment Sold, people register ahead of time and comment sold on the post, and then it will trigger an invoice for them to pay online. And then you can determine, is it going to be in-store pickup, curbside pickup, delivery, shipping? You've got some options. Sezzle allows for my e-commerce stores to offer payment plans, so that could be a good option if anybody is just kind of watching their budget and want to space out some payments. Check out Sezzle to help you there.
I do want to say before I get into this next slide, we are at 11. We are 44 minutes. I have no problem staying on for another 10 to 15. I want to be respectful of all of our attendees' time. So if you do have to leave, please post a question before you go. You're going to get a video of this full recording along with all of these slides. So Crystal, are you okay for another 10 minutes or so?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So reviews. I mean, look at sites like Amazon. The power of reviews is huge. When people go in and they see those 5 stars, it just makes them feel all warm and fuzzy about the product. And that's something that you can do whether you're brick and mortar or e-com. You want to request feedback as part of your post-sale messaging. And that doesn't have to be related to the product. It could be related to your store. It could be related to the experience, maybe the support. And it's really all about you filling up your arsenal of content to put back out to people. So if you can get something on the product itself, that's great. Anything about the service can go up on your website testimonial. Anything about your experience can be placed in store Reviews are always going to be a powerful tool. And you want to showcase these wherever and however you can. So they don't just have to live as a star rating on your product page. You can put them up on your homepage, quotes that people have shared, obviously only the positive ones. Put those on your online directories. You can even have, like, one of our clients came up with an idea of printing some of the quotes and putting it on like a table card next to the product on the store rack, which I thought was a great way of materializing something that works for e-com and actualizing it in their stores. That was actually a pretty cool trick. But people resonate with that because the third-party review carries a lot more weight than you telling people how great the product is. There's a lot more trust involved. So just to wrap up, the biggest thing that we can say is focus on what you can control. We don't know what's going to be happening in the next, I mean, the way the news cycles are happening, I don't know what's going to happen in the next hour. We can't really control what's going to happen with this virus. So focus on what you can control. I took this quote actually from our president here at Management One. He got it from Lou Holtz, legendary football coach. Life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you respond to it. We know that this virus is here. It's going to be impactful. We don't know how much. So how are you going to pivot? How are you going to strengthen your That's going to be the biggest message here. Crystal, if you have 5 to 10 minutes to stay on, I would love to field any questions from the attendees. Feel free and use your question box, and we're happy to field anything that maybe we didn't cover, or are there strategies that you're looking at right now that could be useful, or any concerns that you may have. And if you can't share them now, we are more than happy. I can include my email address in the slides that we send out, and we're going to set up an FAQ page on our website as well.
That's awesome, Nico.
We have a shy audience today.
I know, we do. You know, I'll say we've been talking to our retailers, and some are feeling the traffic impact and some are not at all. And, you know, we just, my motto is prepared, not scared, very similar to what you said at the opening of this. And, you know, we're all in this together. And so I love that you guys at Management One have pulled this together so we can really support each other and learn from each other, and just, you know, hopefully, I mean, we'll just see what happens. We just don't know.
Yeah, we're in the same boat here as well. We're hearing a variety of different stories. Some folks are seeing huge effects and some folks not so much. So it's really just going to be a wait and see. And I think the strength that retailers have when they work collaboratively is going to pay huge dividends. And I mean, there's strength in numbers. That's why we really developed this entire series. We wanted to make sure that each of these topics is really unpacked and discussed in a collaborative manner. So we have 5 more sessions after this one. We're going to be focusing on merchandise intelligence. We're definitely going to focus on internal processes that you as a retailer can implement in your own business, whether you're developing processes with team members or how you're going to message clients. It's really important to have a strategy there. We're going to have a financial planning session that's going to be probably one of the most impactful things if margin is going to be affected. And the town hall, I think, is going to be a lot of fun as well. I see a few questions coming in here. We're doing a spring open house Saturday. Try to get people to come out. That's a great strategy. One of the questions is about syncing the inventory on Shopify. I think in the session tomorrow, they're going to be talking about specific POS systems and how they integrate into stores. So I would certainly register for that session tomorrow.
And then I'll just add it on to that for your Facebook product catalog. Shopify makes that really easy. So there are several e-commerce sites like Shopify, WooCommerce, BigCommerce that can just sync your data feed into your product feed, saving you some work. So definitely check that out and let them help you there.
Absolutely. We're actually going to be pulling together. We have all of our retail data that we aggregate together. We're looking at a brand new tool that we're going to be rolling out as soon as it's ready. And we're going to be seeing how our retail clients are trending month to date. So we want to get a sense of how they're looking month to date versus last year and see how they're trending. Right now, even though a lot of our clients are feeling the pinch, we're seeing the majority of them are actually up against the month to date average. So that's a positive sign, at least for now. We're obviously in our early stages of the effects seen, but we're going to monitor that closely, and we're looking for ways to roll that out to retailers in the days and weeks to come. So definitely stay tuned for updates from us on that. And I think I'm going to end it there, just because we have gone over a little bit. I want to be respectful of everybody's time, but thank you so much, Crystal, for taking the time to join us and give your expertise. And I want to thank everybody that attended as well. We look forward to seeing you again in the next seminar. And Crystal, do you have anything that you would like us to add to the presentation slides, whether it's a contact for you? I want to make sure that people have access to a lot of the skills that you can provide too.
Absolutely. The fastest way to reach us, if you have any questions about what we talked about today or social, we are so happy to help. hello@crystalmediaco.com is the best email address to use.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, folks. And we look forward to seeing you next Tuesday when we're going to discuss merchandise intelligence and our Retail Orbit software. Stay safe, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.